Welcome back everyone, this is GTA Failer with another viewer-inspired video. Recall in the side mission Vigilante, you get into one of any number of police vehicles, you start the mission, and then you have to kill one criminal on level 1, 2 criminals on level 2, 3 criminals on level 3, all the way up to 12 criminals on level 12 in order to pass Vigilante. Also recall that there's an equivalent side mission called Brown Thunder, but that one can only be done in the Hunter helicopter, which is only available after you've collected all 100 hidden packages. You find the helicopter over on the military base, which is very well protected by the soldiers, and you get into that helicopter and take off, hopefully without getting shot up by all the soldiers. You start Brown Thunder, you kill one criminal on level 1, 2 on level 2, all the way up to 12 on level 12. So, Michael Muller commented on one of my Vigilante videos. I wonder whether you can leave your police car and enter the Hunter helicopter from Brown Thunder and vice versa to continue your current mission. And so I think that Michael's asking, can you start Vigilante in a police car, do a couple of levels, and then switch over to the Hunter helicopter and just continue the currently active Vigilante side mission? And then vice versa, can you start Brown Thunder from the Hunter helicopter, which is what I've done in this video, do a few levels, switch over to a police car, and just continue Brown Thunder? And I would have bet money that the answer to both of those questions was no, but I'm always happy to test, always happy to try new things in Vice City, and that's what led to this video right here. In this attempt, you can see that I started Brown Thunder, got up to level 5, and then decided to land my helicopter right in the way of the other criminals. That was pretty cool. Borrowed this police car from one of my fellow officers, and then started to shoot up the criminals here on level 5, and it worked. I can't believe it. We're still on Vigilante. We're still on Brown Thunder, I guess, technically, but I really thought they were completely different entities, and I didn't think you'd be able to continue one when you start the other, and it worked. I'm stunned. So there you go. Level 5 completed, starting in the helicopter and continuing in a police car. So here I'm starting a brand new instance of Vigilante in my police outfit here with the Barracks OL, and I'll explain what we'll be watching in the rest of this video. So of course I want to answer Michael's question in the other direction too. Can you start Vigilante in a police car or one of the other police vehicles, do some levels, then quickly switch over to the Hunter helicopter and then continue that previously started Vigilante? Now, to answer that question, I came up with a challenge for myself, and that's what we're going to watch for the rest of this video. It's a challenge very similar to what I did in the odds and ends video number 9, where I tried to do 2 levels of Vigilante in each of the different police vehicles. So 2 levels in the police car, 2 levels in the Enforcer, 2 levels in the FBI Washington, etc. And I realized after the fact that I omitted one of the allowable police vehicles during that Vigilante challenge mission. I never included the FBI Rancher because when I made that video, I didn't know the FBI Rancher existed. I didn't have 5-star capability in that playthrough yet. And so I'm going to try that challenge again. Specifically, I am going to try to do at least one level in each of the following police cars, at least one level of Vigilante, in the FBI Washington, the police car, the Enforcer, the VCPD Cheetah, the Barracks OL, the FBI Rancher, the Rhino Tank, and then finally switch over onto the Hunter helicopter and try to complete the previously started Vigilante that I used all of those, seven vehicles on. So we're going to try Vigilante Challenge with 8 different vehicles, including the Hunter helicopter. Basically, just to answer Michael's question is, can you start Vigilante in a police vehicle and then switch over to the Hunter and continue it? And the part of this challenge that is going to be tougher for me is that I've decided I'm not going to store any of these 8 police vehicles in my garages. In my odds and ends video where I did this challenge initially, I took a lot of time to gather a bunch of these vehicles, store them in my garages, my safe houses over on the Eastern Island, and then it was very easy for me to switch from one vehicle to the other while I was in the middle of Vigilante. But I'm not going to do that here. I am just going to get all of these vehicles either from fixed spawns or out in the wild because they will be chasing me in force. So before we show you my best attempt at this, I'm going to show you a whole collection of fails. And it seemed to me about half of the fails were because I died, I ran out of health, and about half the fails were from getting busted. Seemed about equal. Those were my 2 most common ways to fail Vigilante. And you can see how far I was in Vigilante by looking at the number of kills in the top right. To complete 12 levels of Vigilante, you need to get 78 kills. So the closer that number in the top right is to 78 kills, the closer I was to completing my 12 level challenge here. So now we'll interrupt my best attempt at this challenge. Just recall that we completed 2 levels of Vigilante in that best attempt. We started in the Barracks OL and finished level 1, switched over to the Hunter Helicopter and finished level 2, and then we're going to come back to that attempt after I show you a whole massive collection of fails. And let me tell you, there were a lot of fails, gang. I think I spent about 7 hours on this challenge. I knew it was going to be tough. I did not realize how difficult it was going to be. I underestimated how hard it was to survive on foot, like running around trying to steal a police vehicle with 5 and 6 stars. Those soldiers, those FBI agents, they are powerful. So, my name is GTA Failer, and GTA Failing is what you're getting here in this compilation. So one thing it took me a long time to realize was how poor the acceleration was on some of these vehicles. So lots and lots of busted. Here I ended up running out of time, just trying not to die. Yeah, more busted. I get it, officers. I don't know, isn't there such a thing as professional courtesy here? I am a fellow officer, as evidenced by my outfit. Shouldn't they just like give me a warning, a slap on the wrist, a beer at the bar? I don't know. I don't know. Lots and lots of busteds. Leave me alone. Instant busted all over the place. Oh, this one. Nope, not busted. Dead. Super dead. Busted again. The dead Haitian on the roof. More busted. 7 hours of fails compressed to 3 minutes. The thing is, even though I'm complaining here about all of my fails and the 7 hours I spent on this challenge, I actually enjoyed it most of the time. Oh, this one was interesting. So I completed the level, but you can see there's only like 3 seconds, 2 seconds left. And so even though I finished the level, I didn't get back into the police car in time. And so it was a fail. I didn't realize that condition. This was the only time I drowned during the whole 7 hours. You can see the FBI agents on top of the car in the water, still aiming their gun at this deceased person. My goodness. So I enjoyed it most of the time. It was a pretty fun challenge. I think if I had to do it over again, it wouldn't take me. Oh, this isn't fair. Look, I should be able to accelerate away, but the officer was stuck in my trunk, in my roof, my my engine, and I couldn't move. Not right. Not right. Dead. This one I thought was the one. I was here, this was level 12. All I had to do was survive and kill these criminals. Now I've got like 121 hit points, then the helicopter explodes. I've got 70 hit points, and I still felt like I would have considered this a past challenge if I could have completed the level. All I have to do is take out this one last vehicle and then dead. Dead. I was considering calling it there. I did end up waiting until the next day before I continued with attempts, and then we get this one where we ran out of time. Upside down, on fire, all kinds of bad. So if I had to do it over again, I'm sure I could succeed in much less than 7 hours because I learned the lesson that took a long time that I need to just kill every officer that's around the my vehicle before getting in. Otherwise, I just get busted. Okay, so 7 hours of fails in 3 minutes is done, and now we continue the attempt that I started showing you earlier in this video. So recall, we passed the first level of Vigilante in the Barracks OL, and then we passed the second level of Vigilante in the Hunter Helicopter, and now we are on level 3 with our third different vehicle, the police car. And again, the goal is to do at least one level in each of 8 different vehicles. And for many of those 7 hours of fails, I was trying to do the Hunter helicopter last, just for, I don't know, dramatic purposes. Like the goal of this video is just to answer Michael Mueller's question, right? Like, can I start Vigilante in a police vehicle and then continue it in the Hunter? And so I wanted to have the Hunter be last, just so that I could answer that question at the very end of the video. But after a ton of hours of trying to do the Hunter last, I decided I needed to change the order. Because by the time I got to the Hunter, after doing a bunch of levels in 7 other of these police and military vehicles, I invariably had, a 4 or 5 or 6 star wanted level. Police were really angry at me, and there was a helicopter after me too. And the issue was that when I was going to the hunter over on the military base, I'd have like all these police officers out after me. And so I had to like shoot all of them because it takes the hunter a long time to get off the ground once I get in initially. And and so I had to shoot all of them because otherwise they would shoot at my hunter and they would maybe bust me while I was waiting for the hunter to take off. And then meanwhile, the police helicopter up above was shooting me. And if I was in the hunter, it was shooting the hunter. And so what was happening, the hunter was catching on fire before I even got off the ground. And that happened so many times. And so ultimately decided that I couldn't have such a high wanted level when I eventually got around to the hunter. So anyway, shuffled the hunter earlier and it's clear already at this point the answer to Michael's question. Yes, you can start vigilante in a police vehicle and then switch over to the hunter and continue, and then switch out of the hunter to a different police vehicle. I'm floored that this worked. I really thought that it was not going to work. While we watch this attempt, let me just go through each of the 8 vehicles and talk about the fixed spawns and maybe some pros and cons for some of the vehicles. So the police car is obviously very common. You can find it out in the wild quite often, starting at a 1-star wanted level, and even when you have 0 stars, they just drive around. There are also a few fixed spawns on the Western Island. There's one at the Northern Police Station and 2 at the Southern Police Station. And you can see in this attempt right here, I just found one in the wild. They were after me when I was on level 3 vigilante here. The Enforcer is that police van. It comes out at 2 stars, and there is one fixed spawn, but it's on the Eastern Island over at the Northern Police Station over there. I'm not going to get that one, so I'll need to find an Enforcer out in the wild here. The VCPD Cheetah comes out when you have 3 stars. There's also a fixed spawn over at the Southern Police Station here on the Western Island. I found that the Cheetah didn't show up out in the wild very often, even when I had 3 stars. So in most of my attempts, and I think probably this one too, I'm going to grab that fixed VCPD Cheetah over at the Southern police station. And one of the things that I did in terms of changing my strategy late in my 7 hours of fails was deciding that maybe I needed to get rid of my wanted level. Like right after I got the 5-star FBI Rancher, maybe I need to do the VCPD Cheetah and clear my wanted level right away just to make it easier for me to complete the challenge. The Barracks OL has 2 fixed spawns. You saw me grab one of them at the start of this attempt here. Both fixed spawns are on the base. Occasionally the Barracks OL comes out. I think that it only comes out when you have a 6-star wanted level, but more often when there's 6 stars, it's only tanks, but occasionally a Barracks OL would show up for me when I had 6 stars. So speaking of tanks, the Rhino tank has the 1 fixed spawn on the military base, but only after you've collected at least 90 hidden packages, and they come out when you have 6 stars. In this particular save file, I've done a few more missions to make it so that I can get 6 stars, and I also did enough missions to unlock the police outfit, which wasn't just a stylistic choice for this vigilante-based episode, but also made it so that the soldiers on the military base would not attack me. And that was really important for me because I might be getting 3 different fixed spawn vehicles out of the 8 police and military vehicles in this video over at the military base, specifically the Barracks OL and the tank and the Hunter helicopter. In many of my early attempts at this challenge, I wasn't wearing the police outfit, and I assumed that I could try to just survive and blast my way through the military base even as the soldiers were attacking me. And at some point, after several hours of failing, I decided to bail out on that and make things a bit easier, or maybe a lot easier, by wearing this police outfit. The FBI Rancher, as I said, comes out only when you have 5 stars, and that FBI Rancher is responsible for a ton of my fails because it has no fixed spawns, and you can only get it when you have 5 stars. And popping out of the FBI Rancher are 4 FBI agents, and they have very powerful guns. And also, you saw a lot of my fails involve trying to get away in an FBI Rancher and getting busted. The acceleration just isn't all that great. And the health of the FBI Rancher isn't that high either. And so oftentimes, even if I got away without getting busted, my FBI Rancher was so damaged that it would catch on fire, or was about to catch on fire with a little bit more damage. And the only spawn of the Hunter helicopter is on the base only when you have collected all 100 hidden packages. It never spawns in the wild, no matter what your wanted level is. And here we'll grab that fix spawn VCPD cheetah. So just to summarize what we've done so far in this best attempt of mine, we started with the Barracks OL and completed a level there. And then we went over to the Hunter and completed a level with that one. Then we found a police car in the wild and did several levels with that one. Then it took me a long time to get into an enforcer, and then an even longer time to go do a level on that enforcer. But anyway, we've got 4 of the 8 vehicles checked off so far, and we are in vehicle number 5 with this VCPD Cheetah. So that VCPD Cheetah got a little bit exploded before I was able to complete a level of Vigilante in that Cheetah, and so we're now headed back to grab a fresh VCPD Cheetah. While we continue watching this Vigilante challenge, let me go back to reading from the wiki page that has to do with the beta releases for Vice City. And remember, beta stuff are things that were either cut or changed from how they were originally intended to be when the programmers were making Vice City. I'll start by reading the changes that were made to weapons in the game. The MAC-10 was supposed to have a silencer. The landmine was cut. The grenade launcher was cut. The taser was cut. The nail gun was cut. Oh my, that's graphic. The Desert Eagle was able to be used in free roaming, but it was cut. The Steyr AUG was cut. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Steyr space AUG. Steyr AUG. The Ruger had a wooden skin, which was kept only on the original PS2 version. The sniper rifle was going to have an ammo clip. The combat shotgun had a longer barrel. The silenced 9mm was cut. The Silver Colt 1911 was cut. The stapler was cut. Oh, that's graphic too. The Micro Uzi from GTA 3 was meant to reappear only to be replaced by the MAC-10 as seen in its HUD icon. The shotgun from GTA 3 was meant to reappear. The M16 from GTA 3 was meant to reappear. In the Definitive Edition files, there is a remade tear gas icon suggesting it was originally planned to be brought back in the remaster. Now reading from the pedestrians section of the beta page. The SWAT team would have had a bright blue uniform instead of dark blue. The model was used instead for the French in the mall shootout. The Haitian gangster who wears the blue shirt used to have a picture on the shirt instead of the word relax. There were several unused pedestrian models, one man wearing a blue suit, one woman carrying a basket, another woman wearing an orange shirt, and another woman carrying 2 shopping bags. There was once a blonde-haired prostitute with pigtails and a red skirt. She was supposed to appear around the streets of the downtown area and dance in the Malibu Club as shown in several trailers. The second member of the Sharks looked different. He was Caucasian and had the same face as the first member. Now moving on to the radio stations and soundtrack beta content. According to TXD files, a radio station named VCN was cut late in the development. VCN stands for Vice City News, so there was intended to be another radio station, a news radio station. According to unused dialogue, a Kenny Loggins song was supposed to be featured in the game. Radio icons for the 9 in-game radio stations and VCN were planned but were never used. The following songs were cut from the soundtrack. Hall & Oates' Do It for Love. An unknown song by the band Crowded House was set to appear on Emotion 98.3. An unknown song by the band Journey was set to appear. An unknown song by Billy Idol was set to appear. An unknown song by the band 5 Star was set to appear. The Flash FM CD included in the European release of the 7-CD official soundtrack box set contains 3 songs that did not actually appear in the game. Specifically, Smuggler's Blues by Glenn Frey, Hold the Line by Toto, and I Want to Be a Cowboy by Boys Don't Cry. So odd. Why would they include songs that weren't in the soundtrack when this box set was released, clearly after the game came out and it was known what the actual final soundtrack ended up being? Song Japanese Boy by Anika, which ended up being on Flash FM in the final version of the game, was possibly originally intended to be on Wave 103 instead. There are multiple songs that appear in various cutscenes throughout the game that were not included in the final game. These were probably intended to be on the game's radio stations but were cut from the final game. Here's the list. I Melt With You by Modern English featured during the 3rd Back Alley Brawl cutscene. Company Gato by Los Super 7 featured during the Naval Engagement cutscene. Campesino by Los Super 7 featured during the Trojan Voodoo cutscene. Ritmo de la Noche by Al Di Meola featured during the Bar Brawl scene. In a Big Country by Big Country featured during the first cutscene of the driver in the original PS2 version only, which was replaced by Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five's The Message in all subsequent versions. The Freaks Come Out at Night by Houdini, featured during the Job cutscene. And finally, Burnin' For You by Blue Oyster Cult, featured during the Boom Shine Saigon cutscene. From the wiki beta page section called Others, there were many phone conversations between Tommy and Mercedes Cortez. These lines can clearly be heard in audio files. There were many lines cut from characters such as Kent Paul, Umberto Urbina, Ken Rosenberg, Mercedes Cortez, Mr. Moffat, who was a cut character that I've read about in a previous video, and BJ Smith in Sunshine Autos. Tires were able to be slashed and recorded in the stats menu. Oh, that's pretty cool. There was going to be an additional outfit called MC Tommy, which was removed. It was originally a brown biker jacket that could be found inside Howlin' Pete's Biker Emporium. However, neither model nor texture of that outfit exists. According to 3 TXD files, a first-person view was proposed. First-person view would be finally implemented much later in the next generation version of GTA 5. The sky in the beta version was a darker blue. The original HUD featured only aquamarine colored text. The radar originally had a more gradient look. The water was lighter and more reflective in the beta version. The health and armor had a different color. According to textures found on the PS2 disc, there was going to be an interior for the inside track in Vice Point, indicating that betting was initially meant to be in Vice City but got delayed until its implementation in San Andreas. According to unused audio, after the purchase of Sunshine Autos, a loan shark was meant to call Tommy repeatedly as Tommy inherited BJ's debts. According to a former developer, at one point early in development, Roxy Music's More Than This was supposed to be the original theme song for the game. There is an unused texture for Lance Vance called IGBUDY3.txd. This texture is his standard white suit with blood splatters, which would have been most likely used in the mission Death Row or Keep Your Friends Close. His standard texture is used instead. There was originally a cheat code in the game that would grant cars helicopter physics. The original Top Fun logo was more similar to the 1986 Top Gun movie logo. The pager from the previous games was going to return. There was an entire Fat Tommy system similar to that of San Andreas. Remnants of this exist in the form of cheat codes. There are unused Definitive Edition icons for the biker missions and the properties. Similar unused icons existed in the original game as well. The player could originally change clothes at the Skumoli Shack. I wonder which outfit you could get over there. Maybe just the standard Hawaiian shirt. Like GTA 3 and later San Andreas, a multiplayer was originally planned. Working titles for the game were Grand Theft Auto 4, like the Roman numeral 4 IV, and also Grand Theft Auto: Miami. The Biker Clubhouse was originally a purchasable property. And that is it from the wiki page. There's actually one more section in the beta wiki that I haven't read yet, but I'll read it later on, much later in the video series, probably after I complete all the missions, and that has to do with locations in the game that were changed or cut. And I can't believe it, gang, but we finally did it. We passed all 12 levels of Vigilante, doing at least one level on 8 different vehicles. So awesome. So happy that I passed this thing. I'm just going to head to the paint spray and get rid of all 6 of my stars. The FBI Washington is one of very few vehicles that you can paint spray and do Vigilante from. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Yeah, so all done. Like I said, I'm flicking the camera because I'm real happy. Really enjoyed this challenge almost the entire time, even though it was took a lot longer to pass than I expected. So many thanks to Michael Mueller for the question, and so we have answered both directions. You can start Brown Thunder in the Hunter and continue in any of the police vehicles, or you can start Vigilante in any of the police vehicles and continue it in the Hunter. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you real soon.